resource planning. So it's a product that is used for the planning of the utilization of resources in an enterprise. Now, the first product SAP released was called SAP R1, right?
Yeah.
In this, SAP stands for Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing, right? The R stands for Real-Time Data Processing, and 1 stands for One-Tier Architecture, right?
Yeah.
Now, the basic product that SAP is currently using, or that the clients are using right now, is the SAP R3 ECC 6.0 product, right? The R stands for, again, real-time data processing. The 3 stands for three-tier architecture, right? So what does ECC stand for?
Central component.
Sorry? I'm sorry, but I didn't quite get that.
Central.
The central component.
Yeah, it stands for Enterprise Central Component. That means this particular product is it's also called as the business suite, and it is the hub around which SAP is going to release or use all the latest products, the other related products like you have CRM, SRM, APO, SCM. You also have the industry-specific software like the IS banking software, right? You have IS oil and gas. So all these other products, they are used by the clients with the help of the ECC 6.0 product. And this product is what we're going to study in the course. Okay. Now this product, the ECC 6.0 product, was released in 2005, 2006. All right. Now, since then, that's almost 10 years. It's more than 10 years now that this product has been in the industry. The changes which are needed to be added to the product, instead of changing the version number, the 6.0 is the version number of the product. Instead of changing the version number, SAP is adding the changes to the product to something called as enhancement product, or enhancement package rather. We call it as EHP. All right. So enhancement package is the additional, you can call them as features that are added to the basic product. Okay. From 2008 till date, there have been 8 enhancement packages released. Okay. So each release is related to a specific change which is applicable to multiple industries, or a change in the user interface of the product, or an addition to a specific industry vertical, or maybe a couple of industry verticals, or any changes to the user interface, like I was saying, right? So all these will be added to the basic product, the enhancement package. The most popular one that is used in the industry as of date is the ECC 6.0 EHP 5. right? Now, this basic product, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, are you saying this is the most popular one, the EHP5?
Correct.
Is it most popular than ECC6? Oh, the ECC6 is
ECC6
just the newest one.
ECC6 is the product. Okay, it's like this.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
You have iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Now, iPhone has different models again. You have iPhone 4, 5, 6, 6S, 7, 7S.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what EHP5 is, like, it's an enhancement.
Yeah.
It's not a change. It's still the basic ECC 6.0 product.
All right, okay.
It's like iPhone 6 and 6S are basically iPhone 6 itself, right? There's a slight difference between iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. Okay. So when you talk about ECC 6 or EHP5, EHP1 to EHP8, they are still the basic ECC 6.0 product.
Okay.
But each EHP version, each EHP will contain a slight modification or an addition to the ECC 6, which is not there in the previous EHP version.
Okay.
So what SAP did is, instead of changing the version number from 6.0 to 6.1, 6.2, 6.3,
yeah,
it decided to keep the version number as it is. It made it static. Okay. And any enhancements that are required, any additional features that are required, are added to this ECC 6 using the enhancement package process.
Okay.
To be more comparative, you can compare it with the package security patches that are released by Microsoft products.
Okay.
You have the security patches or product patches which are released from time to time by Microsoft. They still have it still works on the basic product. That product doesn't change. But what changes are the options that are available. All right?
Okay, it's clear.
Are we clear now?
Yeah, clear now. Thank you.
Okay. Now this basic product, the ECC 6.0 itself is divided, you can say it is divided into 3 divisions, right? The first one is called as the logistics division. Sorry, the first one is called as the functional division, right? Then you have the technical division and administration division. This is the division of the modules within the ECC product into the 3 divisions. Okay, the modules are grouped into these 3 divisions in the ECC product. All right.
Okay.
Now the functional division consists of all the modules connected or related directly with the business process or the business activities. Like you have MM, which is materials management, sales and distribution, production planning, HR, human resources, FICO, which is finance and controlling. Then you have PM, project management, plant maintenance. Then you have PS, project systems. You have WM, warehouse management. QM, which is quality management. And then you have
Yes. Is it PS? Is it PS functional?
Have CS, which is customer service. All right. So like this,
Yes.
all the sorry, I didn't quite get you. Apo, I didn't get you.
I was adding CSP. Is PS functional as well?
Yeah, PS is functional.
PS is already there. Okay. About CRM?
CRM, it's a separate product itself.
It's just a version.
Of the ECC product.
Okay.
You have, apart from the ECC product, that is the basic product, SAP has also developed some new age, or we call them as new dimension products. Okay.
Okay.
These products include your BPC, PL,
Oh yeah.
yeah, CRM, SRM, APO, SEM. Then you have you had BI and BW also.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the additional products which were created for the clients to use. These products were created as an enhancement to a basic feature in your one of these functional modules. Okay. Earlier, like for instance, you were talking about CRM. The CRM is about your customer relationship management. This product, the client cannot use them directly. They need to have the ECC product based on which they will be adding the CRM product. So as a basic product, CRM is not part of the ECC product. It's an additional product. So you cannot have CRM on any of these new dimension products. They are not available as a basic package. But now BIBW is part of your basic product, because BIBW is something which was earlier available as a separate product, but now because it is a necessity for most of the clients, it is being offered as part of the ECC product. So going forward, maybe CRM might also be available as a basic, as part of the basic product. I'm not sure, but that is not available right now. Right? So these are the functional the modules which are available in the functional division. So you have MM, which is materials management, SD, which is sales and distribution, PP, which is production planning, HR, human resources, FICO, finance and controlling, PM, which is plant maintenance, PS, which is project systems, WM, warehouse management, QM, quality management, CS, which is customer service. All right.
Where does C4C fit in? We hear today some terminology like C4C. Where does it fit?
You're talking about S4HANA?
No. Something called C4C. Is it customer for cloud? Something like that? I don't know if
that's the type of offering. See, there are two ways in which the clients can use the ERP product. Either on-premise, that is physically available within the company, or on cloud. On cloud meaning the server will be based virtually. The clients will be accessing the server outside the company premises.
Oh, okay.
So that's your C4C. That's not part of your ECC product.
Okay, thank you.
That's just basically how you're accessing. Like right now, you're listening to the class virtually, right? I'm not physically present. You're not physically present in the class, in a classroom, correct? In a lecture hall or in a classroom. Rather, you're listening to it virtually, right? So similarly, when users start using SAP, it can be either the server can be physically present in the company itself, which is called as on-premise, or it can be present virtually, which is called as cloud service.
Okay.
The technical division consists of all the modules related to programming. basically here we talk about two particular products, two particular modules. ABAP is one and BO is another one. Okay. ABAP is basically the programming module for the basic product, which is again a mandatory requirement for any type of installation. Now coming to the administration division, it consists, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead. Were you asking anything, Apo or Ade? Are we clear so
just
far?
wondering.
Uh-huh.
I'm just wondering why we have a BO as a programming module. Do we have a BI in what did you put it in a new edge?
Earlier it was basically designed as a separate product. BW was basically available as a separate product. Why? Because this product, the requirement of BW was limited to only a limited set of clients. Now basically BW is a tool which is used by companies for analysis, right? Data analysis, rather at the company code level. Now, earlier, ECC had a basic module called DW. You may have heard about it. You've heard of DW? Data warehousing, right? This was the module which was available as default in the ECC product, but the restriction for DW was that the analysis could only happen at the module level. That is, each module you can have the analysis carried out. If I have to analyze data for multiple modules, then I have to do it manually, or for those companies which had installed BI or BW product, they could do it at the business level. But now, because the requirement of analysis has changed from module level to the complete business level for most of the companies, BW is now available as part of your basic product, as the ECC product. Okay, so it is no longer available as a separate product. It is now part of your basic product itself. So now we have in the technical division, we have BI, BO, and BW. Okay, and the latest versions also have XI and PI. These are the process integrators for external integration of other data or calculations. Are we clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. Now the administration division consists of all the modules related to systems and networking and database management. So here we're talking about modules, only one module, it's basically basis, which is your,
Basis.
yeah, basis is the systems and networking module for the basic product, the ECC 6.0. And we're also talking about the database administrators, the DBS.
What of HANA?
HANA is, again, it's part of the administration division. I was about to talk about it, actually. The databases which are supported by SAP are huge. SAP supports almost every type of database. Till recently, there is till 2010, all the databases used by most of the clients, even today, most of the clients use databases which are owned by other companies. They are not basically SAP own database. Okay, so we're talking about Oracle, DB2, or MS SQL, or other types of databases. Okay, now these databases are not SAP owned. So in order that SAP has got its own database, SAP developed the HANA database. So HANA is basically SAP's own database. Based on HANA, now the latest product is coming out, which will be completely released in the near future. But as of now, at least for the near future, that is, we're talking about another 15 to 20 years, most of the clients will still be using the ECC 6.0 product. Okay. Now, the HANA database, basically, when HANA was released, most of the clients, they thought they would have to migrate to HANA, but it's not going to happen. As far as the functional consultants, that is the people who work on the functional modules are concerned, we don't need to know what is the database. Okay. If you know the database, what kind of database is used, that's good. Even if you don't know what is the database being used, that's also good. The reason being, as long as the data is saved and the data is available in the system for the end users to work and for the functional consultants to work, that's the end of the information as far as functional consultants are concerned. Whereas for the technical or the administration consultants, they have to know the database, which database is being used, because the programming and the systems networking work is directly connected to the database which is being used. Okay? Are we clear?
Yes, please.
Okay. So basically you would be working in the functional division. Now this functional division is again divided into 3 subdivisions. So here we're talking about logistics, finance, and HR. Now the logistics subdivision is made up of all the modules directly connected with the product or service offered by the company. So here we're talking about modules like MM, SD, PM, WM, QM, PS, and CS. Okay. So these are the modules which are directly connected to your
Logistic.
the product or the service offered by the company. Whereas finance is made up of finance and controlling. Okay. The HR subdivision is made up of all the HR related activities. Okay. Now, in case you're wondering why the functional division is again subdivided, whereas the technical and administration is not subdivided, only the functional division is again subdivided. The reason being, these particular modules, the logistics module, since they directly are connected with the product or the service offered, all these modules are interdependent on each other. That is, you cannot carry out activities in one of these modules without having other modules. Let's say, for instance, you take up MM. MM is for management of the material or the service which is used in the company. But when you create a material, what are we going to do with that material? Or when you receive the stock of a material, to whom are you going to issue it? If I need to issue, I need to either have SD, sales and distribution, or I need to have production planning. One of these has to use the product, the material, right? Similarly, if I'm a manufacturing plant, right? I'm a manufacturing company. To manufacture, I'm going to use the PP module, right? I'm going to create my production order, my production schedules, everything in the production planning module. But what will I do without material or without sales or without quality management? Because of this, SAP has clubbed all these modules into a single subdivision called logistics. Finance and HR are also connected to the product or service offered by the company, but these are not directly related. They are indirectly related. That means whatever activities are carried out in the logistics subdivision, the other two subdivisions get affected. And finance and HR, these activities can be managed independently without relation to any other module. That's the basic reason why the functional division is again subdivided into these three subdivisions. Right? Are we clear so far?
Yeah.
All right. If you could just give me a minute, I'll just get back to you.
Oh,
Is that right?
Hade, I think you have forgotten to mute.
No, I'm saying, are you all right?
Okay. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, Are they?
Yep.
You still there? Hello.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay. So both of you are there. Good. Now next we'll be talking about the type of projects that we take up. Now these projects are similar to all types of ERP products. Project is basically any type of activity which we carry out for a client for a specific end point or for a specific output. Okay. For SAP, the projects can be broadly classified into 4 types, right? The first one, we call it as the implementation project, okay? The second one, we call it as a rollout. The third one, we call it as upgrade. And the fourth one, we call it as support. Are you familiar with these project types? Apo?
Yeah, yes, I am familiar with.
Okay. Are they?
Yes.
You're familiar with these project types?
Yes, please.
Okay. Great. So what is the difference between an implementation and a rollout? Just a quick understanding.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Implementation, the one which you haven't rolled out to another area. Just implement it on your system, tested it, is working, and rolling out is now you now roll it out for end user. All right.
Okay. But that's not exactly the difference, Ade.
Okay.
Apo?
So tell us.
Yeah, yeah. Apo?
I would have thought that the implementation rollout is also an implementation rolled out on a different site.
Okay.
If you have been implementing on different sites, rollout is also an implementation rolled out on another site.
When you say other site,
That's for example, like I think my understanding is a bit similar to one Ade has just described. Not only being a greenfield from a greenfield to a different implementation, but having implemented the system and now rolling out to, let's say your company has got this different site all over the countries.
or probably you can put it this way. Implementation is where you're installing the product for the first time in any location of the company, the client, right? Wherein the data required will be gathered from scratch. This you don't have any information, so you collect all the required data for the implementation and then implement the product in any location of the company.
But the greenfield.
The very first time, right? That's
the greenfield. Is that what is referred also as a greenfield?
Correct. Correct. That's what I said. I mean, what you said is right. I'm trying to right. So rollout is basically something which we do by copying the implementation from the greenfield to another location of the same company.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, support projects are also called as AMS. Right? You've heard of this? What is AMS?
No. What is AMS?
Is it maintenance?
It's basically application maintenance.
Maintenance.
So basically what we're talking about here is when we're talking about a support project, we are telling the clients that we are not supporting them on any of their non-SAP related issues. We are only there to support the client on using the SAP product.
Yeah.
So to make it clear, the support projects are renamed as AMS, Application Maintenance and Support.
Yeah.
Right? It's just technical name. There's no difference between AMS and support. It's still basically support. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and now let's so briefly talk about architecture. What is architecture? Any idea about what is architecture? Yeah?
Would that be the structure of the application?
It basically talks about how the application in interacts and executes the commands from the end user. So how does it receive the commands, how does it interpret it, and how does it execute those commands is dealt in the architecture part. Okay, now basically architecture divides an application into three parts. Divides the application into three parts. So here we're talking about parts or layers. The first layer is called as the database layer. The second part is called as the application layer. The third one is called as the transaction or presentation layer. Okay. The database layer is basically your database where the system stores the application, stores the permanent data and the source code required to use the application. Okay, it is basically the database. Since this layer is not visible, it is identified by a character code called system ID. Call it as SID. Right? Now the application layer is the level where the application interprets and executes the commands entered by the end user. When I say the end user, it is the user of the application, right? So this interpretation of the commands is carried out with the help of a programming layer built into the application layer. We call this programming layer as the ABAP layer, right? So using that ABAP layer, whenever you enter any command into the SAP system or any application, any software application, the system will be able to understand what is the command that you have entered and how to execute it. Okay? Since this layer is also not visible, it is identified by a two-character code called instance number. Okay? The transaction or the presentation layer is basically your front end. It's basically the front end or GUI where the end users enter the commands and check the results. Okay? Are we clear so far?
Yeah, it's clear. I've never known those.
Sorry?
Yeah, clear. Okay. I've never known what was for those instance layer and
Okay.
I did.
So now you know what it is for.
Now it's good to know.
Okay. So basically it talks about the application layer. See, you have an application, let's say you have an application layer. So the application layer has a database layer and it will have an application layer. And then it will also have a transaction layer. So basically the application is made of these three layers. So when you are using the application layer, You're going to enter the commands in the transaction layer, which will be sent to the application layer, right? So basically, we're talking about transferring of the data from the transaction layer to the application layer. So in the application layer, when this layer receives the command or the code from the transaction layer, it has got its own ABAP layer, that is a programming layer, where the data required or the steps required to execute that command exist. So for executing that command, if the application requires any data or it requires any programming code, that will be taken from the database layer. So basically, whenever you use any application, okay, the bulk of the activities are carried out in the application layer. All right. Now we clear so far?
Yeah, all good.
Good. Now, when we talk about the one-tier architecture, the two-tier architecture, or the three-tier architecture, basically SAP has got these three tiers of architecture. In the one-tier architecture, all the three layers are basically present in the same system. Okay, that means the system, that is, when I say the system, it's a computer actually. So the computer is basically meant to be used for a specific product only, for a specific application. That is, you can only use one application in that particular system. Okay. Like, let's say if you are playing a game, a single user game, I cannot load any other game into that system. Correct? Now, this type of architecture was basically the default architecture when computers were first developed. And because at that time, we are talking about 1950s and 60s, not many people were using, that was not a problem. But when industry started using the system, then people started having a problem. So the two-tier architecture was developed, wherein the application is basically divided into two different parts. In one part, you have the two-tier architecture divides the application into two parts. In one part, the database and application layers are present, and the system having this part is called as the server. Okay. The other part, the transaction layer, is present in a different computer, and the system is called as the client. The two-tier architecture is popularly called as the client server technology. Right? This is basically where in order to use the application, a user has to connect to the server and then use the application from the server itself. Okay. In the client, only the transaction layer is present, which will allow using the application by the end user. Now the three-tier architecture is different. Three-tier architecture divides the application into 3 parts, 1 for each layer. So here we're basically talking about the database layer, the application layer, and transaction layer, all being present in different systems, different computers. Okay. So the advantage of this is physically and transactionally, each layer can be present anywhere in the world. But using the internet and your mobile technology, the layers are connected. That is, the application can be used anywhere from anywhere. Okay. Are we clear so far?
Yeah, all good.
So you have now a better understanding of what is architecture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So all the products that are coming out right now, including the SAP product, the ECC 6.0, are on 3-tier architecture. Okay.
Okay.
Before we go further, both Ade and Apo,
Yeah.
is my voice clear to you, or is there any disturbance, or am I audible?
No, all is good. It is clear. It's a quite a brushing of things we have forgotten or we don't pay attention every day on. It's good.
Okay, so you want me to slow down, or you want me to explain somewhere a little clearly or more in depth? Please let me know. Yeah,
Okay, I think this is a good. I think this is good for me.
it's good for you. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Ade?
Well, so far so good. It's all right. If I've got a question, or I ask you as we go along, but so far so good is perfect.
Okay, thank you. The next one that we'll be talking about today is about the system landscape. So basically, system landscape talks about the number of servers used in a project, what they are used for, and where these servers are physically located. So you have heard of system landscape? Have you heard of system landscape, SAP system landscape earlier? Apo and Ade?
Oh, I was available in the first session, but I don't know what I know about the landscape. It's about this, talking about the server or the system used on the applications, whether it's a development system or testing systems or a production system. That's how I would understand it.
So you basically know the terms, but you are not clear on what they are used for. Is that correct?
I know briefly what they are used for, but if you go through it, I will get the little technical information you are delivering.
I don't know what they are used for. I've heard about SAP system landscape, but I don't know more than any other thing. I don't know what it's used for. I've got no clue about it. So if you can explain better, that would be nice.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe that would be nice because sometimes you might be working on the development one, you don't know the limit, or you wanted to do the testing and you are on the test system or on the production system. You don't know how things are copied from the test to the production, or when they are copied, or how often they will be copied. Or sometimes I don't understand why I am on the test system and I'm not seeing some material that are already in the production system because probably they are not copied quite often. Yeah, if we could go through it, it would be useful.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. That's the reason I was asking about the system landscape with both of you. Now, basically, as you know, system landscape, like I said, it talks about the number of servers. Now, when we say server, it is basically a computer where the copy of an application is installed. That is, the computer from where the users are going to use the application. That computer is called as a server. We already know about it, right? You know what is a server? Am I right?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, Ade?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically here we're talking about three types of servers. The first one, we call it as the development server. The second one is called as the testing or quality server. Okay. The third one, we call it as the production server. Now, most of the time, a company which is doing the installation, that is the consulting company, will have three different servers physically, three different servers, three different computers for these three different activities. Okay. In the development server is used for development or configuration of the application to fit the client business process into the SAP system. Now, when I say system, it is the application. Okay. Now, that is a job for the consultant. So the development server is basically used by the consultants only. This server is used by the consultants. Okay. And is physically present in the company premises. Now, when I say company, it is physically the entity which is doing the installation or any of these support any of the projects. Either it can be an implementation, a rollout, an upgrade, or a support. The company which is doing the type of project for a client, we call it as the company. Correct? Are we clear so far?
Yeah.
Now, because this server is used for development or configuration purposes, this server will normally have only the configuration related screens. Okay, what are these screens? I'll be showing you later on, but for now, just understand it is only related to the configuration screens. It has got only the configuration related screens. Now, the testing or the quality server is used for testing the development or configuration carried out in the development server. So basically, whatever we do in the development server, it is tested in the testing server. Okay. This testing is carried out using the end user screens. So this server will have limited configuration screens and all the end user screens. Okay. This server is also physically located in the company premises. Now, the production server is used by the end users for their day-to-day business activities. Because it is used for carrying out their day-to-day business activities, this server will have only the end user screens. Okay, and this server is physically present at the client premises. Physically located in the client premises. Are we clear so far?
Yeah, it is clear. Oh, Samba, there is sometimes one that is related as to describe as sound system.
I'm sorry to cut you, Paul. Your voice is breaking out. I'm not able to hear you clearly.
I was just trying to ask which one. Sometimes we relate to us as a sound system. Is the development one or the testing one?
The SAN system, the sandbox. That's what you're talking about.
Sometimes we hear sound system. Is it the testing one or the development one?
That's a different system altogether. See,
is it a different system? Okay.
I'll tell you what that system is. Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk about the SAP application, okay, the application is available in two types. The SAP ECC 6.0 product, okay, is available in two types, or you can either say it's like a flavor, okay. The first one we call it as the IDES system, and the second one we call it as non-IDES system.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now the IDES stands for International Demonstration and Evaluation System.
Okay.
Now this particular type of the SAP product is made up of predefined data. It contains or consists of predefined data, which is basically used for giving demonstrations. Okay. Whenever the sales team visits the client, in order to give a demonstration, they'll be using the IDES system and for training purposes. Okay. Because it has got predefined data, which is like dummy data.
Okay.
Dummy data meaning it does not have any business value, right? Because of that, we use this type of system for training purposes. The non-IDES is what is used in the production servers to fit the client data into the SAP system.
Oh.
It is basically used for the production servers and has live data, meaning your business related data of the client. Okay.
So you mean
not used for any other purpose than for carrying out client business activities. So when we talk about the production server or the development server or the testing server, these three servers have the non-IDES system.
Oh, so you mean they don't have those business content we see when we use the IDES, and they don't have, they are, everything that is there has been designed according to the company requirements. It doesn't contain all those business content that come with SAP application.
Correct. IDES will not have any business related data.
Oh, okay.
It's completely made up of predefined dummy data. IDA basically meant
when the company buys SAP as a system and they are going to implement SAP, the package they buy it comes without containing all those business content we see. Okay.
That is so the non-IDS.
From scratch, all we see in production has been just put there by the company consultant themselves. Oh, okay.
So that's what will happen in the development server.
All right.
And the company gives the project to a company. Then the client gives the project to the company. The company will basically use the development server and the testing server to fit the business process into a copy of the application. Again, we are talking about non-IDS copy of the application.
Okay, good to know.
And whatever application the client purchases, that copy will be actually installed in the production server, and whatever configurations are carried out in the development and testing servers will be copied onto this application.
Yeah, but sometimes we see things in the production that are not into test system is because they are not just transported.
Yeah, that's correct. The copying of the application. That's what we're talking about when we say transport. It is the copying of the application from one server to another server, right? To another server is technically called as transport. Okay, so when we say we are transporting the application, it means that we are copying the configuration that we have carried out in the development server to the testing server. Once it is tested, it will be transported to the production server.
Now, what do you call the deployment?
Deployment is nothing but installation of the application in the production server. We don't technically call it as deployment because deployment is basically a military term, right? In SAP we call it as transport.
Okay, now give you a scenario.
Yeah.
Now there is this particular system in a business object. Okay. In business object development server, we carry out some tests, and it was tested in the testing server.
Correct.
Okay. Then after that, so we want to transfer it to the live environment, which is the production. So what we did was to deploy from testing to to live
to testing, and then testing to the production.
Yes.
Right. What do you say?
Do you call it deployment or transaction? So what do you call that?
We technically call it as transport.
Okay, transport.
When you are working in a company, the term that they use may be something which your project manager is used to use. Okay, so you may get accustomed to using the term deployment to indicate that you're copying the application from one server to another server.
Yes.
Within the company, you might be calling it by any name that you're familiar with, that you're comfortable with. But
I see.
As a bottom line, what you're technically doing is, as far as SAP is concerned, you're simply transporting the application from one server to another server. You can call it as deployment, you can call it as copying, or you can call it as sending the application from one server to another server. You can use any term.
Okay,
but
thank you.
Yeah, that's good. So we're clear now?
Yeah, thank you.
No issues. You're welcome. Now, the transport from development server to testing server, right, can be carried out by anybody. It can be carried out by any of the senior consultants your technical consultants, or by the basis team. Okay. Can be carried out by any senior consultants. Okay, just an aside, a simple small query. You've been working for quite some time now on SAP. Why do we keep calling ourselves as consultants? Why don't we call ourselves as software engineers or any other name? Why do we call ourselves as consultants?
I don't know. I wonder. I don't know. I have no idea. Why do we call ourselves as consultants all the time?
Yeah, any idea, Ade?
Well, I think it's a general term used as a consultant. You are a consultant on your particular field, which is an expert. That's the meaning.
Yeah, that's the meaning. But why do we call ourselves as consultants? See, even the technical consultants, that is the programmers or the basis consultants who are the systems and networking people, even these are called as consultants.
No idea.
I had no idea.
If you
came
talk
from
about,
IT. I used to be an engineer, but why do we call ourselves a consultant?
see, if you're talking about a person working on a functional division, yeah, since we're talking about a specific business related process, I can understand that, yeah, because it's his expertise, you may call him as a consultant. But why do we call the other guys as a consultant as well?
Absolutely. I used even to think probably it's related to the fact that someone is certified from SAP, but when I was certified from SAP, I thought this is legitimate, I'm a consultant. But then when I come to the field, I realized even those who are not certified are also consultants. I have no idea why. Yeah, why is that, Samba? Why are we called by the whole world a consultant? That's a good question.
Right. You see,
Why
the
we
basic
call the
reason is
consultant?
because
If you look in the other IT, for example, in Citrix, to be a Citrix consultant, it means something really like Adek has just mentioned, expert, super expert.
correct.
In SAP, it's just enough for you to work in SAP to be called the consultant. Why is that? Why is this? There's a title used and they are abused.
The reason being,
Why is that,
yeah, the reason being, anybody who works on the SAP project and anybody who is working on a project, okay, what they are basically doing is they are advising the client on how to use the application. So not just the functional people, even the technical people, they are modifying the existing code so that the application can be used by the client as they require it. So basically what they are also doing is to see how to fit the client requirement into the SAP system. So they are not creating anything new. It's simply modification. They are modifying the existing thing to fit some other thing. So, and that fitment is also basically, when you look at the bottom line, they're basically advising the client on how to use the product for their business process. So that's the reason why, again, they can be considered as an expert in their field. So they are also called as consultants. So anybody basically, it's not just SAP, any ERP product, the people working on any ERP product, they are basically called as consultants because they are going to advise the clients on how to use the product. Okay, but the people who are working on in the SAP company itself, the actual developers, they will not be called as consultants. They are called as developers or software engineers.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have a better understanding of why we are called consultants, I hope. Yeah.
It's because we provide advice and we advise the client
Correct. See, whatever you're doing in the development server,
yeah,
whoever is working, the consultants who are working, whether they are the functional consultants, the technical consultants, or the basis people, all they are doing is to see how to fit or how to have the client use the SAP system for their business process. It's basically the end goal. The goal of these people is to see how to fit the client process into the SAP system.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So the transport from the development to the testing server can be carried out by any senior people, any senior consultant or technical consultant, or even your project manager. The transport from testing to production is carried out only by the basis consultants. Right? Here, when the application or the code or the enhancement is to be transported from the testing server to the production server, not even the project manager will be involved. It's only the basis consultants who will be carrying out the transport. The reason being, basis consultants being the systems and networking people, they will know if it is a support project, they will know at what time the server is less used and they will be installing the installation. Or if it's a new installation, a greenfield installation or a rollout, because they will be already installing the application into the system, they will also be doing the transport from testing to the production. Okay. Basically, the basis consultants are not just about systems and networking. It is also about installation of the application, installation of various interfaces with other products or other machines, the external machines, and everything related to connecting the SAP system to anything else from anywhere. Everything is handled by the basis consultants. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Are we clear so far on the system landscape?
Yes, please.
Any questions related to this?
Not for me.
It's fine so far.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for that confirmation. And the last one for today that we'll be talking about is the system data types. Sorry. I'm sorry. There's one more thing that I need to talk to you about the system landscape. The development server is basically where all the consultants will be working, right?
Yeah.
In this development server is used for modified the configuration of various business processes into the SAP system. Okay, that means the development server will be used by all the consultants, all the functional module consultants to do the configuration of the business process into the SAP system. But when I'm doing the configuration, that is as an consultant, when I'm doing the configuration, at least in the initial phase, I need to be sure that my configuration is bringing the desired result. That is, it is not getting affected by other modules configuration, right? Are we clear on this?
Not clear. Can you explain better, please?
See, basically, the development server is a single system, right? In which we install the non-ID, the application, and then whatever is the business process of the client, we try to fit it into we try to configure it into the SAP system in the development server. That's what I said here. The development server is used for development or configuration of the application. to fit the client business process into the SAP system. Okay, so when we are doing the configuration, let's say you purchase, let's say you purchase a printer. Okay, when you are configuring the printer, that configuration should not get affected by any pre-configurations that exist in the printer or by anything else. Correct?
Yeah.
No. This applying the same concept in the development server. When a particular module is being configured, okay, it should not get affected by another module's configuration. That is, when I'm configuring the system system's configuration should not affect the production configuration, nor the production configuration should affect the configuration, right? Because of this, the development server is divided into several partitions to ensure that each module's configuration is not affected by the
changes.
other modules configuration. I'm sorry, Ade. Missing something?
No.
Okay. Okay. So to ensure that each module's configuration is not affected by other modules configuration, the development server is divided into different partitions. Okay. How many partitions to make will depend on how many modules are getting configured and how many modules can be fit into a single physical development server. Now please understand, when I say a development server, it is the name given to the physical server where we do the configuration of the application. Physically, I can have more than one development server. Likewise, I can also have more than one testing server physically. But all the number of servers that I use for testing purposes together will be called as testing server. Okay, to identify, I may give them a number like testing server 1, testing server 2, testing server 3. But technically, there's still a single system called the testing server. Similarly, the development server, I can also have multiple physical computers. Okay, but altogether, if I'm using that computer for configuration activities, then I'm going to call it as a development server. Okay, each partition of a development server is identified by a 3-digit number called client number. Okay, it ranges from 000 to 999. Are we clear so far? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Dave.
So that client's number, how does it come? Do you just give any 3 number?
The basis consultants will be dividing the application, and for each partition, they will be assigning a number from that range, from 000 to 999.
I see.
Okay. What number to give to a particular partition is dependent on the basis and your company policy.
Okay, understand. That's my question. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Now, these client numbers, they range from 000 to 999. there are certain client numbers which have some specific purpose. Okay, like 000, we call it as master client. Okay, 001, we call it as copy of master client. 066, we call it as early watch client. And you have 800, 801, 810, 811. Basically, almost all the 800 client numbers, the 800 series, they're basically called as the training clients. Okay. Now, the master client is the partition of the application. Whenever you purchase the SAP product, whether it's a IDES system or a non-IDES system, the 000 will contain the complete copy of the application without any data. Okay, even in the IDES system, the 000 client will usually not have any predefined data. So it's just consisting of your programming codes. Okay.
Okay.
The 001 client in the IDES system, the 001 is where the application with the dummy data is present, and usually the basis consultants, if they want to create additional clients in the IDES system, they'll be copying the application from 001 to any other client number. And in the IDES system, the 800, 801, 810, 811, these 4 client numbers are available with the predefined data. So
Hello, why is it not? What's the reason for copying from 001 instead of 000?
The reason is 000 is basically only the code.
Right.
In the non-IDES system, when I'm creating a client number, I'll be copying from 000 to 001, and then I'm going to copy from 001 to other client numbers. The reason is,
okay.
If I'm going to keep on copying from 000, there might be a possibility of some data loss in the 000 client number. So in case going forward, let's say after 6 months or say 1 year down the line, if I need to have a completely new set of code, then I would not have it in any client number if I start using the master client directly. In order to ensure that I have a completely virgin copy of the application available, I'm going to leave the 000 client as it is. I'm not going to use it except for the first time copy to the 001.
Okay.
And another reason why 000 is not used is just standard practice, that you have copy left out as a fallback option. And 001 is basically where the changes made to the copy are also copied to the 001 client. So basically in the development server, the basis team is going to copy from 000 to 001 for the first time. And from 001, they're going to create other client numbers as are required. Okay. After the configuration is done, when they are copying the application to the testing server, some companies, what they do is they have this practice of copying the configured system, the application, into the 001 client, and then from 001, they are going to transport it to the testing server. Similarly, in the testing server, they can also have multiple partitions based on the testing process. But 001 will be used as the final test copy of the application, which is going to be installed in the production server. Okay.
You mean having a pre-production?
I'm sorry. You mean to say where are you going to install in the production server, correct?
No, I mean having the another instance called the pre-production. There's another one also called the pre-production.
There's nothing called pre-production. Pre-production is something that we do in the testing server itself.
Yeah.
All the types of testing will be carried out only in the testing server. So before the client gets the application installed, whether it is a greenfield project or a support project or a rollout, everything, all the types of testing will be carried out only in the testing server. We cannot use the production server for any type of testing. The reason being, the production server consists of live business data. If I'm going to test it on live business data, and if I go wrong anywhere, it may affect the business data of the client, which may affect the business process, the business activities. So in order to avoid that, the production server access is not given to everybody. Whereas the testing server is where, because it again consists of copied data which is no longer required by the client, old data. So you can do all sorts of testing over there, including deletion of data if required. Okay?
Okay.
So these training clients are basically used only in the IDS system for providing training, and these client members also have the predefined data. Okay? Now the 066 client is basically where the SAP company itself will be connecting to the 066 client of the production server to check the performance of the application after the installation is completed. Okay, for certain clients, if there's a lot of program change activities or the technical configuration is more, the SAP company wants to ensure the application is running at the peak performance, the optimum level, right? So in order to do that, after the installation is completed in the production server, the SAP company employees, they will be connecting to the production server using this particular client number, and they will be checking the performance, because this has got performance checking and enhancement tools. And the access to the 066 client is usually restricted only to the SAP employees, the company employees. The consultants, that is the companies which do the installation, which normally do the projects, they're not directly SAP company, correct? So they will not have access to the 066 client. All right? Are we clear?
Explain that bit 066
Okay.
more.
Now, like I said, the production server is where we are going to install the final copy, and that is the server where the end users are going to connect and use the application for their day-to-day activities. When the application is installed, in case the client feels that the application is not running at its optimum level, it's not performing at its peak performance levels, then I need to change, or I need to tweak the application so that it is running at its optimum level, right?
Right.
Now, as a consultant who is not directly connected to the SAP company, I will not have the option, or I will not have the permission to tweak the application, because it also involves changing the application code. That application code can only be changed by the SAP company employees.
Okay, in such a situation, are you going to invite SAP?
Yeah, the mail will be sent to the SAP company directly saying that the server, the application may not be working at the peak performance. So can you please check?
All right.
Right. So then they will be connecting to the 066 client number of the production server and check the performance level. Okay. Now, like I was just saying, the SAP company employees have access to the application level programming. So what do the technical consultants do? I told you that the technical consultants are the ones doing all the types of programming required. So what do these guys program? Any idea on what these guys do? The above consultants?
Right. They do the programming, they do the coding, they do the development, they sort out all those transactions, whatever activities are happening on the transaction layer, to make sure that they just fit the business process.
Right. Like I just said, they do not have access to the application programming. Right. So in case the development that they do, the ABAP consultants, the technical consultants that they do, is just modification of the application code. There are two types of programming here. One is the application level programming, another is the transaction level programming. The ABAP consultants will have access to the transaction level programming only. Okay, they will not have access to the application level programming. The application level programming is what will be checked in the 066 client to enhance the performance of the application. And that application level programming access is only for the SAP company employees.
Okay.
It's just for your information because we are not going to go into the technical consultant aspect. Okay. It's just something which you need to be aware of so that going forward when you start working at a senior level, you know the difference between the what the ABAP consultants can do and what SAP employees can do. The SAP employees have complete access to everything in the application. The transaction level programming, the application level programming, and the configuration